Greetings viewers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be working on the tow rig, which is my 2004 GMC Sierra 3500, equipped with a Duramax LLY engine. Today's video, we're going to be installing a new downpipe. It is an MBRP 3-inch downpipe. We're going to be replacing the factory restrictive downpipe on this truck, opening it up and helping it breathe a little bit easier with this new 3-inch downpipe. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the removal of the old downpipe and installation of the new downpipe. All right, so one of the first steps you want to do, according to the instructions that came with the downpipe, is to jack up and support the front of the truck on jack stands. We're going to have to go underneath the truck, give us a little bit more access to work. And our next step will be removing our inner fender liner, which is just held on with a bunch of these little plastic push pins, which we can pull out with these push pin pliers or a flathead screwdriver to get under the head of them and pop them up. So just gonna go around the inside of the fender liner, pop all those off and pull the fender liner out. All right, now that we've got our inner fender liner out of the way, we can see where our factory downpipe is and where it meets the front pipe. We're going to need to take this V-band clamp loose. We're also going to need to remove this 13mm bolt here that mounts the downpipe to the exhaust manifold on the passenger side of the engine. This V-band clamp should be an 11mm. Unless it's like mine and rusted. All right, so like I said, that's normally an 11mm. You just remove it with a socket, but mine has rusted partially, being that my truck came from the north, so makes things a little more difficult. I'm gonna take the cutoff wheel and cut a groove in what's left of the nut, take a punch and a hammer and crack the nut to loosen it that way. Then we can put a new nut on the V-band to reuse it, hopefully. All right, now that we've thoroughly destroyed our V-band clamp to get it off due to the rust, and got that drop, we separated the downpipe from the front pipe. Now we can remove the 13mm bolt here that secures the downpipe to the exhaust manifold. So the bolt might be a 14mm, I'm not sure. I thought it was a 13. It probably is, but due to the rust scale on mine, it is now a 14. All right guys, now we've got to go underneath and remove that 13mm nut and that 13mm nut that hold the transmission dipstick tube in place. A little hard to show you due to how cramped it is. Can't get the camera in there, but you can see right here, and you'll see my extension and wobble swivel socket coming through to take those nuts loose. The transmission dipstick tube bracket has a slot in the bottom, so you shouldn't have to remove those nuts all the way. Just back them off enough to wiggle the bracket out off of the stud. All right, with those two nuts loose, you should be able to pick up on the dipstick tube, pull it free from the transmission, and then under the hood, grab it and wiggle it out of the engine bay. All right, now that we're back topside, we need to remove the heat shield from the turbocharger. Move this AC line up a little bit. We got 3 10 mils. All right, get those out of the way. Turbo heat shield should be free now. Recently drove the truck, so this is still warm. All right, now we can loosen the 11mm V-band clamp between the turbo and the downpipe. All right, with the V-band clamp loosened at the turbo, you might have to tap it with a hammer and a punch to get it loose. All the heat cycles and stuff, they like to get jammed up on the flange there. I'm gonna pull it back towards the turbo, and we're probably gonna take a breaker bar or a pry bar and the hammer and hit the downpipe to free it from the turbo. So we're just gonna take our pry bar, catch this ear right here beside the downpipe flange, give it some taps. I'm gonna have to loosen the clamp a little more. And get the spread a little bit more. There we go. Let's see if we can get the downpipe to come free from the turbo. All right, so after much beating on the downpipe, finally got it to pull away from the turbo enough where I can get a pry bar in here and pry a little bit side to side on the flange. Hopefully we should have separation here momentarily. right, I think we got her. All right, downpipe is free. Now we can pull it out from the bottom. All right, guys, to be able to remove the downpipe, we need to remove the four 15mm nuts on the front pipe where the front pipe meets the rear pipe. This is right behind the transmission cross member, right where the torsion bars terminate. So as you see on my truck, my studs snapped off, being that it was a rust bucket, so I've knocked the studs out. We'll be replacing those with new studs and new nuts on reinstallation. So real quick before we install the new downpipe, this is our new downpipe, full 3-inch, compared to the factory LLY downpipe. As you can see, crushed down here in the center. Also has a much more severe exit angle. It does not have a nice sweeping mandrel 3-inch bend like this pipe. It basically dead ends against this wall and then goes straight down. And as you see, squished down here in the center near the firewall behind the up pipes and on out. So much more flow, much less restrictive with this MBRP downpipe, and will help the Duramax breathe a lot better. So now that we've seen the differences, let's go ahead and get ready to install the downpipe. And we'll go back top side and attach it to the turbocharger. All right, now that we're back top side, we'll slip our V-band clamp over the outlet of the turbo, then pick up the new downpipe, slide it in the back of the turbo, and push our V-band clamp on the flange and tighten it back down. All right, we're just going to tighten the V-band clamp loose. We're not going to torque it down yet. We need to align the downpipe at its mounting bracket on the exhaust manifold before we completely tighten this down. So we need it just a little bit loose so we can still adjust it. So correction on this mounting bolt, I don't think it's actually a 13. I think it is actually a 14 or possibly a 15, and mine's just shrunk in size due to rust. All right, now we can reinstall the dipstick tube and tighten the two 13mm nuts that secure the bracket. All right, now we just tighten back down the two 13mm bolts or nuts that hold the dipstick tube in place. All right, V-band is tight. I can go ahead and reinstall turbo heat shield. All right, now the heat shield's back in there. I can straighten out this piece, and this piece had to bend it slightly to get it out, flip it back up, and then run in our 3 10mm bolts to secure it. And yes, guys, you do want to put the heat shield back on. Saw plenty of other videos on Duramaxes where they installed downpipes for exhaust and they cut this off, threw it away. GM put this on here for a reason. You do not want to have a hot turbocharger sitting directly above your air conditioning line with no kind of heat shielding. That's the reason they put it there. That's the reason it's going back. So now that our heat shield is back in place on the turbo, we can go back down under the truck. We can reattach the front pipe to the rest of the exhaust system. And then with the new provided V-band clamp from MBRP, we can clamp the downpipe and front pipe together. All right, exhaust is back in the hangers. Got a new stud nut here and here. Couldn't get this one or this one to knock out with the hair hammer. So since I've got a 5-inch exhaust on the way, and this will only be on here temporarily, I crammed the old gasket back in there and put these 2 nuts and studs in there. Hopefully that's enough to hold it for the few days to a week's time until the new exhaust comes in. Now I can install the new V-band clamp and tighten it down. All right, guys, good idea to go ahead and start the truck up and listen for any exhaust leaks at the turbo and downpipe and forward pipe to the remainder of the exhaust. Make sure you don't have any exhaust leaks before you put that inner fender liner in. All right, we're good to go, no leaks found. All right, and now we've got the inner fender liner installed and we are done with this project. All right, and that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you didn't notice, this took me 3 days to film. I've now been rained on 4 times. It's raining on me right now, starting to. So luckily, I was able to finish up the video today. Black clouds over here, starting to drizzle. I'm about to get poured on. I'm already soaking wet because it already rained on me once this morning, trying to get this wrapped up and finished filming. Hope this helps some of you fellow Duramax owners. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.